I'm Megan Teltner, and I'm a nutritionist, and I'm an author, and I run the Academy of Culinary Nutrition over at culinarynutrition.com. This is Mr. Josh. I call him Dr. Josh.
I'm Josh Katalis. I'm a clinical nutritionist and functional medicine specialist. And I have a clinic here in Toronto, work with people worldwide as well, and run courses for health enthusiasts and healthcare practitioners.
Health enthusiasts. See my enthusiast? It's right down there. And today we're going to be talking about anxiety. Josh has an amazing course coming up next Friday. It starts. 2 Fridays. February 19th it starts.
How do you know it's amazing?
Because Josh, unlike me, doesn't brag about everything he does. I brag about everything I do. But he has been bragging about how awesome this course is. Every day when he comes home from work, when he's been working on it, and he's just finished filming it, he's like, this course is incredible. And what I think is so incredible, you had a crazy statistic you brought home with you yesterday about the number of people.
I have a number of crazy statistics, Megan.
Okay, go forth. Go forth.
Because
statistic aside.
This is all fresh in my head. Mental health issues, and specifically depression, is the leading cause of disability worldwide. Like, isn't that not staggering?
It's
I bet you if you asked people, I should have started by asking what people thought was the leading cause of disability worldwide. And I might get cancer.
I have to unplug these things. They're driving me nuts.
Okay, I might get heart disease. I might get different things like that. Injuries, personal injury. But it's actually depression. And the interesting thing about depression and pretty much all mental health issues is you can't see them.
No.
You know, the brain is up here.
Someone said even in developing countries, more so.
Worldwide.
More so. I would say more so in developing countries.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of other cultures have practices built in, and whether it's like a religious practice or a spiritual practice, but they have a factor of faith and hope and gratitude built into their spiritual practice. And in North America, we don't really have that at all. And that isn't obviously the only solution, but and Joyce says meditation. But it's a really big aspect of getting over anxiety is learning how to be present and grateful for everything in the moment.
Definitely. And I have one sort of thing to bring to the attention. And something that we noticed, you know, there's sort of like, if I could simplify it this way, there's sort of 3 aspects of society or 3 categories people fall in. There's the developed country, which, you know, is developed.
Yes, that's like...
And there's certain issues associated with that. And then on the other side of things, there's people still living the way they've lived for hundreds of years, like the indigenous way, like the people we saw in Bali who were still farming grasslands or farming rice, and were like the happiest people we've ever seen. Yeah. And then there's like this middle group where there's a huge disparity in terms of like financial opportunities, and we saw this
like a very firm class system.
Yeah, and we saw this with the Balinese, with like the next generation who wanted to not farm rice their life and sort of like go out and get an education and like grow that way. Yeah. And anyway, we're getting off on a tangent, but the point is that I think this mental health thing is something that goes across all cultures, the whole world. It may be less in people living the indigenous way.
And nobody talks about it. And you go to your doctor and you say, I'm feeling anxious, I can't sleep, I have irritable bowel syndrome, I am having hormonal issues, my relationships don't work, I'm having anxiety around socializing and going out or missing out. And what does the doctor do? They
give them an antidepressant.
Or an anti-anxiety.
Or some sort of drug therapy.
Sedative.
Because that's the tools that they have in their toolbox.
Yeah.
Another statistic is that 25% of people on medications do not have a diagnosable mental health issue.
So this is interesting because we all experience highs in our life and we experience low points in our life. And like, let's say you lose a loved one, right? And then they shorten the grieving period from 3 months to 6 weeks. So if you're not feeling, back to your usual joyful self after 6 weeks, then they prescribe you an antidepressant. But nothing in your chemistry has actually changed. You're just sad. But we don't necessarily have the tools to process that kind of grief, process that sadness.
But your chemistry has changed. I think, but the structure of your brain, the way your brain works has not permanently changed that it needs some sort of drug therapy. Yes, you probably have chemicals in your body that don't feel so good. They're called the molecules of emotion.
I would just like to point out that our dear friend Joy McCarthy of Joyous Health has just made a very bold statement that there's nothing wrong with sadness.
That's beautiful.
And if Joy,
that's so true.
Our friend Joy, one of the most joyous people I know, can say there's nothing wrong with sadness, there's nothing wrong with sadness.
Grieving is essential for healing, absolutely.
Joy, come on over. You can get in your car, you can be here in 5 minutes and like pull up a seat.
But yeah, I mean, the great part about life is that there's highs and lows, right? You can't experience the good without experiencing the bad. And we're really deviating far from the topic of the day, anxiety.
We're going to be talking about this stuff all week and probably next week too.
But I guess the point is, when we are in a low, we want to have the faculties, the skills, to be able to get out of that low.
Yeah.
And not stay in it for an extended period of time.
And that's what we're going to talk about after our long introduction. So, okay. Joshua.
Well, let's start by, someone asked what we're actually sipping on. And this, believe it or not, is part of our anti-anxiety plan.
So if you go over to katch.me/Megan Telpner. See, because I'm drinking this, I'm not getting annoyed at all by his... Okay. That was plenty.
You know I had to do it another time.
He's an evolved man. He's still a man.
He's still gotta have fun,
So if you go over to catch.me, katch/Megan Telpner, I did a Periscope yesterday about what is in here. So you can hop on over and check it out. And it's all about fueling with fat for the brain and nervous system.
And I just have a different type of drink here. She's sporting the hot one. I'm sporting the cold one because I just came back from the gym and I was feeling a little hot anyway. And I got some blueberries in there, spring water as a base, and then a little colostrum, some protein powder, and fat, lots of fat. I love my fat in the morning. I put a tablespoon of ghee in there. I put a tablespoon of medium chain triglycerides in there. I put a tablespoon of nut butter in there. I put a little lion's mane in there for my brain.
Yeah.
And why colostrum?
Let's get on with our topic.
Okay, we'll talk about that another day.
There is, if you head on over to my Periscope I did yesterday, I talk all about colostrum in that one.
Ooh.
So today we're talking about anxiety and nutritional benefits. So you just named off a bunch of really important things to help fuel the nervous system. And I think the first thing that we have to recognize when it comes to anxiety is that for a lot of us, we're dealing with full-on adrenal fatigue, where our bodies aren't effectively able to actually realistically process the stress that we perceive in our everyday life. So the littlest thing will set us off and cause this like cascade stress response that was never intended to be something that we experienced on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we were just talking about our drinks for a moment, and the reason why there's so much fat in them is because that balances blood sugar throughout the day. And we don't want to go on the blood sugar roller coaster, because when we're at the bottom of the roller coaster, that's when we have anxiety, or we're more prone to anxiety. So let's discuss what the worst breakfast in the world is for anxiety. If I went to you and I said, Megan, I want anxiety.
Yeah.
What should I have for breakfast?
I would say you should have Special K and skim milk.
I think we could do worse.
I would say you should have
what about Frosted Flakes?
Frosted Flakes.
And why? Why would Frosted Flakes and skim milk not be good?
There's no protein and there's no fat. It's pure sugar that's going to spike your blood sugar and then give you that crash that will either cause you to sleep under the table or crave more sugar. So you have your second or third or fourth cup of coffee, or when people drink like Coca-Cola in the morning. And so when you have that crash, your body goes into this like almost emergency response that releases a whole bunch of adrenaline to try and restabilize you.
Yeah. And I see some other people posted some other recipes like Nutella and Wonder Bread.
Here's the thing though. This is the tricky bit a little bit. Like I hate Nutella. Last week was Nutella Week Day. I have a blog post called 5 Reasons Nutella Doesn't Belong at the Breakfast Table. We get more hate mail about that than anything. Really? But the thing is that Nutella, even though it's partially hydrogenated garbage, toxic fat, it's still fat. And that is a little bit more helpful. Totally. Than like pure carbohydrate, like a muffin and a coffee, or like a bagel and fat-free cream cheese.
Which also has gluten in it.
Which also has gluten, which also can be a contributing factor to anxiety and mental unwellness or mental decline, brain degeneration.
Sure can.
Yeah. Okay. So fat.
That's so important.
Stabilize blood sugar. Protein will help stabilize blood sugar.
Protein.
Fiber will help stabilize blood sugar.
Have you ever made a campfire?
Tell me about the campfire. Let's talk kindling, Josh. Let's talk kindling. Let's talk big logs. Go for it.
So we all need calories, but we need to choose where our calories come from. And they all have completely different effects on our bodies. So carbohydrates are like the beginning of the fire. They're the kindling. They burn up really bright and really hot really quickly. But proteins and fats are what are like the big log that we put in once the fire is rolling. It takes a lot less attentiveness to actually do that, right? You throw a log in, you leave for 3 hours, you come back, it's still burning. The kindling you have to put in every few minutes. So that's what we're talking about with fat and protein.
So yesterday when I was doing my Periscope, or maybe it was on a blog post I'd written, an Instagram post, I wrote all about ghee. So if you check my Instagram, there's this whole thing about the ghee and how most of my diet is fat. But someone asked, like, well, don't they need carbs in the morning for fuel? So for most of us, many women, many people have slower metabolic rates because we're not as active these days, because we sit all day. And so those carbs don't actually work as well for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about how quickly, fuel comes from 3 macronutrients. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. So why do you have to go to the carbohydrates?
You forgot love.
And vitamin L.
Vitamin L. And the sunshine.
So why
you get energy from the sunshine if you eat enough green food.
Yeah. So carbohydrates is like the fireworks of energy. It's like, why go for a rowboat? Why go for a slow row on the lake for your entertainment when you can see the fireworks?
Right.
And that's what carbs are. Like, just like that. One, you feel good because it tastes good, increases serotonin briefly, and it's like energy right away, the kindling, right? Like everyone wants to throw the paper in the fire, so it burns up really big. But if you want to be even keeled, if you want your brain working on full tilt from morning till night, you need a slow burn.
Yeah. So what's happened is that a lot of people, especially women, even though we know to stop counting calories, because we all read on diet, right? We all read my books. So we know that calories don't count. But I think there's still something ingrained in us to fear the fat a little bit. Like, we're afraid that if we eat fat, we're going to get fat. And when you change your diet, it doesn't just like, you don't know tomorrow whether it's working for you or not. It's like a slow thing where suddenly you're like, oh my goodness, how did my tushy get so big? Which was my experience on the oatmeal diet. But it's true. I gained 15 pounds. So I think that like that's a really important thing to pay attention to, that so much of our anxiety and the anxiety we feel in our life now, which was like, it wasn't as pandemic 50 years ago when people were eating eggs and bacon and sausage and like these higher fat foods. But now,
and didn't have cell phones and TVs.
no, and there's also
internet.
this trend, and I'm guilty of being a perpetuator of it. But like, I used to think that like a green smoothie was the best breakfast ever. Like throwing in a bunch of greens and some flax seeds and some berries and bananas and like calling that breakfast. But there's not enough fat in it or protein. Same with green juice. I am a green juice junkie, but it's not a meal. It makes my cells go, but it's not a meal. And so I think there's a lot of this. And also if you're on a high plant-based or even vegan diet, you have to be super mindful that you're getting a lot of fat in and paying attention to getting a lot of fat into your diet to help stave off the anxiety, to help keep that blood sugar stable.
We had a couple questions.
Oh, I can't even see that far.
Well,
oh, hello.
Well, they've gone by now, but I remembered them. One of them was, how do we get off addictions to, I think it was donuts and bagels or something like that. Anyway, it was carbohydrates.
We're going to have separate responses. Do you want to give your balanced one first, then I'll give mine?
Can I give yours?
Yeah.
Megan would say, just eliminate it.
Yeah.
Stupid.
No.
No, she wouldn't say stupid.
That's not fair.
No.
He takes that back.
Yeah,
I would never say that.
She would say, just eliminate it.
I would say, just do it.
If you know it's the right thing, just do it.
Yes.
Okay, that's what Megan would say.
And I also appreciate, because I would never call anyone stupid, I appreciate how difficult it is. And I appreciate that there are actual addictions. But here's the thing, that if you decide that you're only going to have donuts on Fridays, you have not decided, you have not committed. So deciding to make a change to your diet is deciding 100% that it's no longer an option, that it does not serve your better physical health, your better emotional health, your better spiritual health, your bank account. It doesn't serve any aspect of who you are and your amazing potential on this planet. So we need to eliminate it without excuses. As soon as you start having those like cheat days, being like, today I'm allowed to eat whatever I want, you're going to spend the rest of the week beating yourself up, being like, why did I do that? I don't feel good. That wasn't ideal. And now I've got to break that craving all over again. So you need to just give it up completely and not give yourself permission to break your own rule, because you're only cheating yourself. No one else cares. Well, they do care, because they all care that you want to be your healthiest and wellest possible. So my response is, what do you do if you have those habits? You break them. You decide, today is the day that I'm done, and I'm going to fill that void, fill whatever that was taking up in my diet. I'm going to fill it with something more awesome, more delicious, more better for me. And what's really amazing is that when you can break away from refined sugar and processed fat and white salt, your taste buds actually change. Like, I can tell you 100% that in university, I could eat like a full row of those powder donuts. I have absolutely no desire. I have no desire to eat like a bag of candy from Sugar Mountain, of that like food grade petroleum, gummy bears, all that stuff. Your taste buds absolutely 100% change.
Yeah, so that was Megan's answer.
Yeah.
What I would say is along the same lines. One, you have to commit to want to feel better. And two, because I work with real humans, one of the best ways...
Who do I work with?
No, but I like work one-on-one with clients, through different things.
He's booking into June.
Different people on different commitment levels.
Yeah.
So it's a really good technique is bringing in other stuff. Like, it's sometimes really hard to eliminate stuff, but what's way easier is saying, oh, I'm going to have eggs for breakfast. Yeah. Right? And then you don't have to think about what you're eliminating. You're just replacing, and that's really good. What was some of the other questions? You said do you remember any? Yeah. One of the other questions was, what do you do with about coffee addiction? Oh. And here's what you do about coffee addiction. Stop drinking it. Go for an uncoffee, which is delicious. Have another hot drink, right? Yeah. To replace the coffee. And you also might want to think about supporting your adrenal glands, because coffee wears down the adrenal glands. Yeah, adrenal glandulars. So you can go to herbs, some good herbs, some important nutrients. Roasted dandelion tea. Yeah, so some of the herbs like astragalus, reishi, maca, delicious. Ashwagandha, rhodiola. Aren't these are all like in your elixir blend. Yeah.
So before we get on with talking some lifestyle stuff, talk a little bit about your course you have coming up. This is your advertorial interlude, but don't leave because we've got more.
I need music. The course coming up is on mental health and neurology, and we talk about all of this in a ton of detail. I know someone mentioned, doesn't fat help with Alzheimer's? And yes, it would in the right context with the right fat. We talk about that, but we talk about what we need for proper brain health. We talk about brain food. We talk about what a neuron needs. Like, we're going right down to the cell, and then we come out, and then we go through some specific health conditions like depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, neurodegenerative diseases, insomnia, anxiety, anorexia.
Yeah. So,
concussions,
autism,
yeah. Yes, we talk about autism.
So joshgitalis.com/learn. That's Josh and then GITALIS.com/learn, and you can register for
this
that.
This course is a beast. I finished filming it yesterday, and there's 400 slides.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest one I've done yet.
All right. So what about insulin response that fat causes? I've read about this too. Dr. Gabrielle Cousins made a claim about steak causing an insulin response.
Yeah, it's the protein, not the fat.
Yeah. I'm feeling.
No, I think it's the protein, not the fat, because a high amount of protein at one time can cause insulin surges. I'm not sure if fat would cause any insulin surges. I mean, the ketogenic diet, which is like 70 to 80% fat, you're not going to see any insulin surges. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No.
Because you're using fat as energy.
Okay, so some lifestyle stuff for anxiety. One of the easiest things that everybody, that's you and you and you and you and you and you and you, are going to start doing right now is when you wake up in the morning, you're going to take 5 deep breaths for your lungs into your belly, then you let your belly go down, and then your lungs go down. Like, when you wake up, you sit up in bed, you go 5 times. Consider that your meditation if you're just getting into it, because that changes your biochemistry, it changes your perspective, it changes your molecules in your body. And that, into and of itself, will help unwind that anxiety. And then you do that like 3 more times throughout the day. I actually have an alarm on my phone that goes off at 1 p.m. It says, take a moment for inner balance, which is really just like my reminder to stop, take a few deep breaths, and move on after that. So that's my first really doable tip. Everybody can do that.
And just to add to that, don't underestimate the deep breath. I mean, this is just a little tip, but try it for 1 week.
Yeah.
And then when we're on a Periscope, maybe next week or something, let us know how it went. But just literally, it can clear cortisol out of the bloodstream.
Yeah. And when you keep taking shallow breaths, like just in your lungs, it puts you into the parasympathetic, or the sympathetic nervous system. It puts you into a stress response, where when you can breathe through the full capacity of your lungs, it switches you into the parasympathetic, to the rest, digest, and heal mode. Yeah.
It's true.
What else do you got for lifestyle?
For lifestyle? For managing anxiety?
Yes, my dear. I almost said yes, my love, but then I remembered this is a professional setting.
If you work hard, you got to play hard. So everyone needs time to decompress. Everyone needs relaxation time. Everyone needs time to kind of like clear whatever work or whatever stresses from your day are happening. And you got to make that space for yourself. So whether it's a walk when you get home, or a little evening time to do, to have an Epsom salts bath, or, watching a funny show or something, you need that time. And working hard is awesome. Working hard's important.
We love working hard.
We love working hard, especially when you love your work, you work hard. But you have to balance that out with play.
Yeah.
You have to, or else you will degrade more than you build up, because working, although it's great and it's important, it's a degradation type of activity. Even if it nourishes you, it takes some of the dollars, you spend some of the dollars. You need to rebuild that, and you rebuild that with play, vacations, deep breathing.
Nature walks, sunshine
walks.
were some of the suggestions.
Yeah.
And so carving out that time is so important, because if you really want to tackle anxiety and anxiety, because you can live without anxiety. Like you can
without chronic anxiety.
You can unravel those knots in the belly, and there'll always be moments. There'll always be things that happen, and there'll be moments. But what's really cool, and I've gotten really good at this, is that I sense the physical feeling in my body, and I can almost be like, why am I feeling that? And I can trace it back, whether it was like an email I just read or something I just thought of that I have to do, and I can trace it back and just be like, it's okay, it's gonna get done, it's not a big deal. And so, because I'm very prone to anxiety, a lot of people who have very active minds and like highly creative and my brain is always going. So a lot of us are very prone to anxiety, and just starting to tune into the physical responses in your body and being able to breathe through them, knowing that like as you breathe, it will change, it will unravel, it will pass, and then you can move forward. And most of the times what we feel anxious about, those fears and stuff, they don't even exist. They're all like the what ifs, or what will I do when, but it's nothing that we actually even have to deal with today. Mm-hmm. Also what society tells us we should be. Yeah, well, we have to learn to ignore society, and we have to tune into ourselves and what makes us feel good and what makes us feel present. And like Josh and I live in society. We live in downtown Toronto, but we don't subscribe at all to what society calls normal, because it doesn't work for us. And we don't even think it's normal, because everyone who's subscribing to what society expects is in the most case very unwell. And so, we can be called alternative or fringe or weird.
You know what? Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
I think that what's happening en masse is frog in warm water syndrome. It's like you throw a frog in warm water and you slowly turn up the temperature. He's not going to jump out. He will eventually just die. And we're getting so far away, but so many people at the same time are doing that it just seems normal.
Yeah.
And people are just getting further and further away from the essence of who they are and the essence of how to live, the art of living.
Yeah.
And as a result, this body, this temple, this vehicle that brings our soul from one end to the other is breaking down.
Yeah. And so a couple other really simple things you can do. One is, and I just thought of this because I was with a girlfriend on the weekend who said, I was going to send you this text, but I didn't know if you'd still be sleeping and I didn't want to wake you. And I was like, how would a text wake me? My phone is off and down in the kitchen.
And our Wi-Fi is off.
And our Wi-Fi's off. So that's another thing, a really simple lifestyle thing you can do. Unplug your Wi-Fi, because the EMFs, the electromagnetic frequencies from your Wi-Fi router, that affects your nervous system. There's lots of research about this. As well, turning your phone off. If you need the alarm, just put on airplane mode so it's not sending and receiving. But like when people have trouble sleeping and they wake up in the middle of the night and go on their phones, that is one of the absolute worst things you can do for your nervous system. Worst. Or if they get up and they watch TV, or they get up and they start working on their computers, it's one of the worst things you can do. So Wi-Fi from your neighbors is obviously harder. There actually is paint you can get, and you can paint your bedroom with this paint that will block out Wi-Fi frequency. You can't get rid of it 100%, but every little bit counts. And obviously the Wi-Fi that's in your own home is going to be the strongest.
And someone mentioned that their anxiety is pretty bad and that it keeps them up at night. It gives them insomnia. Well, let's talk about insomnia tomorrow.
Let's talk about insomnia tomorrow.
All right.
We'll be back tomorrow with more.
And by the way, whoever made that comment, thank you very much for your comment.
Yeah.
We're going to address it tomorrow, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Grounding sheets. We have a grounding sheet. I don't know if it works still. And someone just said, what about your kids and getting them to shut it off? They're your children. You make rules.
What if what?
How do you get your children to turn it off? I was like, you just have
There's
rules.
an app, actually. There's an app. I saw Jamie Oliver share it. There's an app you download, and then you have like the master control, and you plug everyone else's phone into your app.
Yeah.
And you can actually turn off and turn on people's Wi-Fi in your family. It's good, really great for kids. I don't know what the app's called.
Especially if you're the one paying for their phone. They are yours. You own them, and you're lending them to your children. They're adults. Well, everyone's got to run their journey. Like you can't force adults to do anything.
Yeah.
But you can educate them. You can send them information. Be like, hey, look at this article I read. Something to think about, especially if they're dealing with things like anxiety or insomnia.
And Christers, magnesium's a great place to start, by the way. I know you threw that question in just a moment ago.
Tomorrow we are going to...
Our Pact, thank you very much. The app is Our Pact. Tracy shared that with us.
We are going to come back tomorrow morning. Insomnia is the topic. And thank you for joining. Go to joshcatalis.com/learn to find out more about his mental health course. And I'm at meganteltner.com, and we've got a great blog post coming for you tomorrow. So subscribe to my newsletter if you aren't. What time are we going to do it? I don't know. Probably around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier.
Maybe more night, closer to 9-ish.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Bye,
joining.
thanks for joining.
Bye.